Well, back again. I'm just doing a bit of it's not a review on the M200. It's just as I said in the last video I did with the laser cutter. It would just to show what's involved, that the items that I print aren't an item that takes, well, 2 or 3 minutes. I'll go through what actually the M200 and times on various things, but the Zortrax M200 is an absolutely outstanding printer. I will show you some of the stuff that I have printed and how complicated some of the items are, and I've designed them myself. I'm not saying that I've got them right first time, because I haven't. You print them off and you realise I could have done that better. There's different ways of printing things to get them to be stronger so they don't snap easy, but that's all part of learning the printer. But I've had one failure, and that was my own failure, and I've printed absolutely loads of items. You know, you have to buy well, I say you have to buy, people use aftermarket printer filament, but I don't. I stick to the Zortrax make, and I think it's quite good. I've got different types, and I use different types because they all have different properties, whereas some of the other filaments you can get, a lot, you know, third party filaments, they're cheaper. And I did actually try one, and it was not the same quality by no means. There are devices you can put on this printer to make it print third party filaments better, but I say you get what you pay for. Buy the right equipment, buy the right filament to use in that, and you can't go wrong. I've never had jams, I've never had fail prints. If anything goes wrong, calibrate it. It's as simple as that. But anyway, I'll go over to the printer, and it's on its side of me anyway. You'll have to excuse the small room, but I've been seconded to a small box room at the moment, and as you can see I've got quite a lot of stuff in it. But anyway, I will go over to the printer. Well, here we are at my Zortrax M200. It's quite well constructed. All the outer casing here is metal. There's very few plastic parts on it as such, but the main bulk of the machine is metal. When I purchased this, I did a lot of research, and the research suggested that I purchase the side panels, two side panels. The back is enclosed anyway. There's only the top that's open. And the reason why they recommended it, I mean, I didn't realise, but it's the more stable you can keep that area in there that's being printed in, the better, because what it does is it keeps a constant temperature, and that stops warping and various other problems that can occur with 3D printing. But having said that, I wouldn't know whether I would have got problems or not, because I installed these before I even used the printer. I got it all as a kit, and to be fair, it took me about half an hour to fit the doors and the door on the side panel, and that was it. So well worth it, really. The hot end is here with a nozzle. This is a little fan that cools the filament as it's been laid. Once it's been laid, it keeps it so it stops it from being soft as you're applying the next layer to. This is your extruder mechanism at the top. You can just see a little gear wheel, and that's your filaments fed in from the rear, and it's fed in from a coil that's on the back. And the unit that it hangs on, I actually printed it as well. because you get some free samples that you can print with. This is the hotbed. It's warm now because it's been on. I've been doing some printing. It's a perforated hotbed. They're about £40 for a new bed, that, and I always keep a spare one, just in case that the actual bed fails. You don't be waiting 3 or 4 days for another one to come. They're easy to get hold of. Parts for this are easy to get hold of. It's a printer that's not a lower end cheaper printer. It's more. I paid about £1,500 for it. I think they're about £2,000 now, and they're about £1,700. Thought it was a bit expensive at the time I purchased it. I broke it in my piggy bank, but I've never told the wife how much it cost. But there again, what she doesn't know about doesn't hurt her. I hope she's not listening at the door. It's a printer that is easy to use, and as I said, when I looked into it and did a lot of research, I wanted a printer that I could use without having to use a computer connected to it. This you can switch it on, and what's on the SD card there, you go through the menus, tell it to print, it prints. And not like my laser cutter, I go downstairs and watch a film and leave it run. Don't go out of the house. I go downstairs, do what I'm normally doing while it's printing. And I've had this printing on one particular job. It was printing for 16 hours, and I thought, let's go in and see what it's up. Left it printing through the night. Following day I went in, and it had completed the print, and it had not made one mistake. In fact, from the day of purchase, and once I got used to using it, the prints that I designed, they printed first time. You do get mistakes. Majority of the time it is yourself to blame. It's how you've designed it, and you haven't realised that printing it like that could give you problems. So with the software, the slicing software that comes with the M200, it's pretty simple. I use TurboCAD Professional for designing the item in 3D, and then I import it into the program, the slicing software for M200, and you put it on the chip, select it on the screen, LCD screen, and off it goes, and it'll just continue to print. I can honestly say I've had one failed print from this, and I've done lots and lots of prints. What it says on the tin, it does. And as I say, it's well constructed. It's ball screw shaft at the back, drive shaft, which is the most accurate, and the guide rails. Majority of what you see is steel construction. There's no little nuts and bolts that come loose, or plastic to break. It's a well made printer. They've brought a new one out now. I don't know what the model number is, but it's M200 Plus, I think it is, and what modifications they've made to it, I don't know. I haven't looked into it because I'm quite happy with this one. I don't intend to purchase another printer. As long as I can use it, I'll be using it. And if I couldn't cope with the amount that I print, I will buy another one of these. Definitely on that one. Why change something that works? I'm a great believer in sticking with something. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you to death with it. That's heated platter, perforated plate. The 5 points that you can see, the like shiny stainless steel, are points where it calibrates when it does it, and it always touches off when you start to print. What I'll do is I'm just in the process of actually printing a unit, and I'm going to print the air assist nozzle, so I'll just go back to, if you watch the screen, right, when you switch on it comes up Zortrax and it goes to models. I'll just try and zoom in on the screen. Right, I hope you can see that a bit better. Right, you just simply chips in, press the models, it say please wait, and you just scroll through. I have lots and lots of models on there. I'm going to be printing the K40 air assist nozzle. K40 air assist nozzle VT. You press that and it'll tell you K40 air assist nozzle, material Z hips. Now I have one identical, but it's been done for ABS. You can use ABS, it's not much cheaper. I just tried different properties and I found the Z hips quite versatile really, and I get the best results from it, although the ABS is good. And then it'll tell you material usage, 14 grams. Well, they're about 800 to a kilogram reel, I think, so you get quite a lot off. Print time, and this is what I was trying to explain. The units aren't printed in 2 minutes. It's 1 hour 29 minutes to print the air assist nozzle, and I think it's not far off that time for the actual clamp arms with what holds the laser pointer. So it is, you know, you've got to let the printer get on with it and do it. So in a mass-produced item, you know, they're selectively made, and that's what's unique about them. If I want to add something else to the air assist nozzle, I can go into this 3D program, add it, save it as another file and print it. So you can always modify what you've created, which is the beauty about it. You know, it's just getting used to how, realising that you design something in a 3D drawing program and then you save it and then you import it into your slicing software. And what your slicing software does is actually, I'll just move this back up a bit, so excuse me if there's a bit of rustling. What your slicing software does is just builds it up in different layers. That's what slicing means. So, and the beauty about the software, most of the softwares do, the Zortrax software is really good in the fact that it'll build in support structures, because you can't just, if you build in an item that has a plastic arm coming across the bed, it would try and print it, but eventually you'll get movement down as weight increases, and it would actually drop. So then when it comes to print the next layer, it would be missing it. There'd be a space between, so it couldn't. It automatically builds support structures, and you can tell it how much to build of them, how dense to make it, the support structures, so everything's supported. And the beauty about it is it just breaks off at the end. Really, really clever how it does it. Yeah, it's a bit more cleverer than me. I only use it, but right, I'll show you what happens when I start to print. Just bear with me. Right, I just move the camera back. As I say, I've not got a lot of room in here. You'll have to ignore the gentleman there with the hat on. It's alright, it's just a free pack. I didn't print it, so it's alright. So I'm going to start to print. Now what it's doing is it's telling me on the screen, heating the platform, please wait. And it's 77% already, because it's been on, so, and it's quite hot. But it doesn't get hot enough to melt the item. It knows what temperature to put the bed for a particular item. So you know, that's why I like to use their filament. It's rather good. And then once it goes from the heating the platform, it will be then heating the extruder, and it'll get that set temperature, and you might see a little bit of plastic dropping out of this. It's quite common. And then what will happen is then the bed moves up to the print head. That doesn't move down to the bed. All the axes, X and Y axes, move that way, but the Z axis is up. Sorry about that. Just the phone cold calling, and you can tell how long I've been on the phone. It's now heating the extruder up, and it's now at 98%. Unfortunate, before every print it will do this, make sure the bed at the correct temperature, and it makes sure that the extruder's at the right temperature for a particular filament. They're not all printed at the same temperature, so this is why when you use third-party ones, there you go, it's breaking off. You can just see there the bed's moving up now. I'm just pull a little bit of plastic away from the hot end, you can just see it there. Be careful because it is very hot. It will go up and it will touch off in the centre of the platter, the heated bed. And then it will move across to the other side and touch off. It will drop the bed and then move to the middle and start printing wherever you've decided to print your item. Now what it's doing now is, I'll just pause it and try and get a bit closer for you. There. What it's doing now is it's actually printing the raft that your item will be sat on. You don't tell it how to print the raft, it does it automatically. It's quite good and ingenious how it does it. It's normally slightly larger than your item that you're printing, and then it's printing quite wide bands at the moment. It uses quite a lot of on the raft, quite a lot of on the first layer, because they're quite wide, of your filament. It's not that much, but it obviously you'll see when it starts to lay the cross ones how fine they actually go. So the only sometimes is you get a little bit of, you'll hear it's quite common with them as it's going backwards and forwards across the other way, across the raft, laying the finer thing, you'll hear it bobbling, and all that is just slightly touching tops of the raft, but it's you can hear that little rumbling. That's just going across the, it's so fine, and it'll go across the other way. I'll just pause it and then you see it's laying across now the other way. Right, here we are back at the printer, and as you can see it's well on the way to completing the item. As I say, I just normally just leave it running or sat on the computer, or I'll be down in my workshop. Reluctantly might I say that sometimes I have to go shopping but that's not something I like to do unless it's for myself. But it's now stating that it's got 1 hour 7 minutes, so it's been printing about 22 minutes, so, and it's got to that stage. But obviously the further it goes now, it's less to print, because obviously the air assist nozzle is actually cone shaped, so it'll just go up and it knows all the tolerances, all the inner raft that is to build support for the units insert. It's amazing how it does it. I'll keep clicking back onto it, so I'll just pause you again and then we'll see where we go. Right, well here we are back now, and it's got on the, let me have a look, about 2 minutes left, and you can see I've just left it running and off it goes. There's no real explaining to do about it. It's just that you know, if you design it right, you've got the right printer, you've got the right filament, it's just a question of time. I'm not going to speak a right lot at the moment because it's going to be finished shortly. About a minute left on it. There you go. That is now one completed print. It'll drop down. It always that's its home position. The head always remains in the home position while the bed's going down. Top left hand side. And it'll stop. And that's your print done. And if I can get in, I'll show you how easy it is to remove the print. So you just have to bear with me because I'm having to do it in front of the camera. Now remember, this is quite hot, so I normally, I'll just tip the camera down a little bit more. I normally hold the bed there, the aluminium bed underneath, put the scraper in there, you start it off bit by bit. You can hear it breaking away from the bed. None of that print apart has actually lifted. I'm not using a lot of pressure there because I don't believe in forcing it, but eventually it pops off. And there is your finished item. If you just bear with me a moment, always you can just see little bits of plastic that's in the hole on the bed, and that makes your next one adhere to it. But when I was telling you about how easy it is to remove from the raft, there you go. That's the raft, and that's your printer. And if you look inside there, that is a support structure because there's a shoulder in there, so it has to print that. That just, I normally just put my finger in that, pop it, and out it comes. And it's as simple as that. Now that's the air assist nozzle. It's pointless, I think, doing what the clamp holders printed like, because it just prints it. It's a different print design, but it just does it the same. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. You're supposed to get better as you do more, but I'm not so sure. There are some other little tips I'll tell you about when you want to glue parts together, but I'll come back to that in a later video. So bye for now, and I hope to make another video. The next video I'm going to do is I'm going to do one on my little strobe lights, that landing gear lights that I do for the drone, because I think that's quite interesting, and see where it goes from there. You never know. But bye for now.